This is a continuation of the Gentle Intro to Web Scraping series. If you haven't seen the first 3 videos, I highly suggest you do so, as we're going to go over a practical example in this case. In this video, we will be extracting an HTML table, specifically a table holding basketball stats from the ESPN website. Right. So let me just show you the website. Alright, so this is what we're going to be scraping. Let me just show you how to get here. So what you need to do is just go to the ESPN site. Then you go under NBA. You see this tag NBA. You want to click this stats. And once you click stats, you'll be pulled into this page, and you could pretty much pull any statistics you want. But in this case, we'll just focus on assists. Just click on this complete leaders, and we'll have a page, HTML table, that holds all of these statistics of the of different basketball players. And this is just the first page. There's 7 different pages. So I guess we'll start off with just going through the first page, and then we'll extract all the rest of the pages. All right, let's go back to, here we go. All right, so let me actually just grab this URL because we're going to need it. Extracting basketball stats. All right. So I'm just going to paste this here, and so that's the first thing we want to do. We want to save this URL under the variable URL. So yeah, so let's just import. We have our URL, so I'm going to import first. Import our requests, of course, and then we're going to import from BS4. From BS4 import beautiful soup. And you always want to make sure the capital B and the capital S. Alright, so we've imported these 2 modules. Let me just run this. Now we have our URL. So let me just run this. And the next thing I want to do is headers. So I'm just going to explain exactly what headers are, because I didn't get a chance to explain this in the earlier series. Mozilla 5.0. Okay. Alright, let me get rid of this. Just clean up a little bit. Okay. So what headers are they're pretty much a way to imitate browsers. So say you're using Firefox or Chrome. Each browser has a specific header that is used to communicate with the website. So the website knows what browser you're using and what's your operating system, and so on. So real headers, something like Firefox, always has a user agent, and they usually have something like Mozilla 5.0, and then your the rest of your info in terms of your operating system and some other info. But in my case, this is usually enough. Just putting Mozilla 5.0 seems to be enough. I don't really run into problems when web scraping. But sometimes if you want to put all of the info, I guess all of the info that your actually browser uses, what you can do is you can actually go to some website. This was the website I found. Let me just copy this and paste it here. Okay. So by going to this website, I was able to get all of my browser's headers info. So when I went to this site, I actually got a lot more information. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So my user agent looks something like this. It's pretty lengthy. It has my operating system, I guess. Here, Win64, and there's a lot more information. So this is what an actual browser header looks like. It contains all this information. So if you're having problems, if you're getting blocked, if certain websites are blocking you, you can't download their HTML content, you probably need to put all this info in. And the way you get all this info is just by going to this http www.whoishostingthis.com site. I'm going to put that link into the description so you guys don't have to worry. But most of the time this works for me. From everything I've tried out, just a user agent and Mozilla 5.0 usually works. Alright. So let's just leave it at that. I'm going to comment this out, and I'll comment this out. All right, so we have our headers. Remember, it's a dictionary form, keys, user agent, and Mozilla 5.0 is the value. All right, so now the next thing we want to do, so we have our URL and we have our headers. what I want to do is let's just make a get request. All right, request dot get. So we have our URL comma headers equals headers. All right, so headers is expecting a dictionary, so we're going to use this. We're going to use the dictionary that we created, and this should be good enough for us to be able to extract the info. So I'm just going to extract the info response. All right, so after making a get request, you always want to make sure that your status code is 200, because if that's not your status code, that means you haven't properly connected to the website. Response. Okay. So as you can see in my case, I'm getting a 200. Sometimes you won't raise an error, but your response hasn't downloaded the HTML content that you're interested in. So it will seem like your code is running properly and you have actually downloaded the HTML content, but in reality you haven't. If you get something like 401, that means you haven't downloaded the HTML content. So you always want to make sure you check your status code and make sure it's 200. So I'm going to actually give you an example. Let's see. All right, so let me just, we're going to create a URL to equals, and let me just copy this URL. All right. So we're going to actually try to connect to the site and download all the HTML content. So response, let me see, yeah. So response to equals request.get URL2. I'm not going to use headers in this case, but I'm going to show you how the response status code can trick you. Actually, let me just, this is response, sorry. All right, so let's check the status code on this one. Status code, and you'll see that it's not 200. Response, I'm spelling response. Response.2, sorry. Response2, status code. Okay, so as you can see, it's 403. And let's just look at the content. So response2.content, if we run this, you'll see that we actually did not get any information. We did not download the HTML content. Instead, all we have gotten is this forbidden sign, or forbidden warning, 403 forbidden, and we really haven't downloaded anything. So if you don't check your status code, then you might run into problems later on. So you always want to make sure that you're getting a status code of 200, because a status code of 200 means you've properly downloaded everything. So let's just check the response content of the ESPN site. You want to take a close look at all of the HTML content to make sure it coincides with the website, the web page you're trying to scrape. So in this case, everything looks good. I see a lot of stuff on NBA player stats, statistics. All right, so let's just get out of this. All right, okay, so now of course we want to be able to parse everything. Just so we don't get confused, let me just get rid of this, all of this. All right. Response.content. Okay, this is all good. Now we're going to use Beautiful Soup to parse everything. Response.content, and we're going to use HTML parser. All right, and that's good. Oops, what am I doing? Soup equals Beautiful Soup. All right. So now we want to extract the table. All right, let's go back to this site. What we're going to do is we're going to inspect. So I'm inspecting with Firefox's Firebug, and what we want to do is try to find this table. All right, so let's see. One of the quickest ways we can do this is just click on any of these rows and inspect one of the rows. So once you inspect the rows, you'll usually find a TD or TR. You're supposed to find a TR. As you can see, the TR is pointing to this portion. So if you found the TR, you just want to move up a little bit. You want to move up a little bit till you see a table. All right, so in this case, I see table class equals table head. This should be grabbing the table. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm actually going to copy. Oh wow! So I guess I can copy. Maybe this is just Firefox. I can copy this. I wasn't able to copy in Chrome. Anyway, so let's just go back to our extracting basketball stats. So now we have the table, right? So what we want to do is soup.find all, or we could just do soup.find, because there should only be one table, but just in case. So we're looking for a table, and the class, if you guys remember, class is always with the underscore. So this is the tag, and this is the class attribute. And the class attribute is always represented with the underscore. So this is the tag, which in our case we're looking for a tag table, and the class, which is the attribute, is a table head. So table head. So this should find the table for us. So let's just run this. So it seems to be finding the table. So what we want to do is we want to save this to, let's just save this to stat table. Stat table equals soup.findAll. All right, run that. Okay, now I just want to make sure. Remember, find all finds all the tables. We can have multiple tables with this class because classes are not unique. So what you want to do is you always want to check the stat of the table, and if it's 1, that means we found the table that we're looking for. So in this case, since there's only one table, we found the table that we're looking for. So despite there being only one table, we still haven't extracted the table. So this stat table is actually not a table, but a result set. So let's look at the type of the stat table. If you look at the type, you'll see that it's a BS4 element.result set. This is because findAll returns a result set. And despite us only having one table, what we have to do is we have to extract that one table. And the way we can do that is just have stat table equal to stat table 0th element. So we're going to be extracting the 0th element, which in this case is the only element located within the stat table. So the stat table is sort of like a list holding all the results, and we're going to pull out the 0th result, which is the only result. So if we do this, then we should have, if we look at the type of stat table, let's see what the type is. Okay, so now we have a tag, an element tag. So this is what we're looking for. So the findAll finds a list, finds many different tags, and despite us just having found one tag, what we have to do is actually extract that one tag. And the way we do that is using indexing. I can just get rid of this. And now that we have the table we want, what we want to do is we want to look through all the rows. If you remember the earlier lesson, we have to look for TR, which stands for the rows. So let's see, here we go. Okay, so TR. So as you can see, TR represent the rows. And TDs represent the cells. So each of these TDs represent the cells, and TRs represent each row. So first we want to pull out each TR, so we want to pull out the rows, and from each row we want to pull out each cell. So here we can use a couple of for loops to pull out each cell. So what we want to do is, so first we're going to pull out the rows. So for row in stat table dot find all TR. So what this line is doing is it's basically pulling out all the rows. So we're trying to find all the rows from this element. So what happens is now, since we pull out a certain section of the HTML, at first soup was holding all the HTML content, but we sort of pulled out a subsection from the soup, and we call that a stat table. So stat table is representing a portion of the HTML content, and we can use find all and different types of methods on this section. So in this case, we're just we're looking at this section that we pulled out, stat table, and we're trying to find all the table rows. We want to use a nested for loop in this case because for each row now we want to pull out each element. So if we do, so we're going to plot each row. Now for each row, we want to plot a cell or an element, each of the stats. So row dot find all, and now we're looking for the TD element. So each row has a bunch of TD elements, which are just representing sort of each block or each cell. Let's go back to, let's just see how what each cell is holding. So if we look at the cells, so we have an aref, we have title, and we have text. So each of these cells are holding some sort of text. So if we look here, the text is GP, assists. Now let's look at this row. So as you can see, Houston, HOU. So all these numbers are actually being represented as text within each TD cell. So essentially, what we want to do is just pull out the text. So if you look, these are all text. 5.7, 14.8, 1.9. So what we want to do is pull out the text. So the way we do that is, okay, for cell in row.findAllTD, what we want to do is print cell.text. So for each cell, we're trying to pull out the text. So if we run this, so it should be pulling out the whole table from the first page. Okay. So as you can see, it's pulling out everything: player, team, MPG assist, James Harden, so all his stats, then John Wall, Russell Westbrook, blah, blah, blah. But it's not in the format we want. The format we want is sort of a table-like format, so we need to do a little string formatting. So we're able to get the information, but we're not able to get the format that we're looking for. So let's just test this out. I'm going to actually clear this. And now, remember, we want to print this to a text file. So let's just run a context manager to open a file with open. Here we're just creating a new text file, and we're going to save all the contents in this text file. So the text file we want to create, let's just name this basketball stats.text, and we have to use the W for it, which means to write. So what we can do is we can just copy this, because we're going to just be extracting everything. And now instead of printing, let me just fix this indentation. Instead of just printing, we're going to write. So r.write cell.text. This should be printing out a text file. This should be creating a text file with all the information on it. So let's just run this. So let me just check. Basketball.stats. Okay. Alright, so this has all the info, but this is not the format we want. So we have to do a little string formatting, because this is not easy to read. So we want to display everything in a very easy, readable format. So let's just play around a little bit, and let's get this to the format we want. So, okay. So let's just go back, and let's look at the basketball stats again. Let me see. Let me just open this one more time. Alright, the first thing I guess we want to do is divide this by new lines. We want every row to represent a new line. Let's just take care of that first. So we're going to add a new line, so at least we separate each row by a new line. So for row in table.stats.find for so we want for each row. So what we can do is we can actually add a new line right here. Or r.write new line. What's going to happen here is for each cell in table.findAll, going to write all the text of each cell, and then we're going to write a new line. So this should at least divide each row by a new line. So let me just run this again, and okay, I ran this. So let's just check the new format. Okay, so this looks at least a lot better. The only problem is now everything is sort of bunched up together. So we need to create some space between each of these. For each cell, we need to create space for each cell. So the one way we can do that is using leftjust, ljust. So let me just give you an example, just in case you guys haven't used string ljust. Create a string. Okay, this is what ljust does. All right, let's see, string.str.ljust 100. It's just a way to pad. All right, 100, and we'll pad it with, let's try just spaces. It's exactly 1 character long. All right, so what it does is it pads everything onto the right. So Let me just pad this with with 1. All it's saying is you want this string to be 100 characters long, and if it's not 100 characters long, we want to pad everything to the right of it with 1s. So in this case, this is what ljust does. It should be 100 characters long, and if it's not 100 characters, everything should be padded by 1s. But everything is going to be padded on the right side of this the sentence or string. So let's just run this. And as you can see, everything to the right of it is being padded until we fill this 100, I guess in this case it's width, 100 width character string length. So in our case, we're just going to try padding everything with ljust because we want to pad empty space to the right. So let's just try like something like 30. This will also align everything so it looks clean like a table. So we have cell.text, and then what we can do is just apply ljust to this. And let's try 30 characters. 30 might be too big, but let's give it a go. So all we're doing is creating empty space to the right of each cell text, and we're filling with empty space. So we're making sure every cell text is 30 characters long. So if we run this, let's take a look at how our alright, so this sort of looks like a table now. Yeah, so this actually looks like a table now. The only problem is probably 30 is too large. Let's just maybe try 20. I don't know. 20. Alright, let's go to back. Alright, so 20 looks much better in terms of alignment. This looks more like a table. Alright, so we might have a problem, I guess. Russell Westbrook, Kia. Let me see. There's a little misalignment here. Let's try something like 22 and see if that fixes it up. Alright, let's see. Okay. Alright, so this looks a lot better. 22. This looks almost perfect. Okay. Everything seems to be aligned perfectly, and yeah. So this video is a lot longer than I expected. I guess in the next video I want to show you guys how to we'll go through each page and pull out the rest of the stats. We went over a lot of things in this video. Stuff with response, and then we went over how to find the tables and how to pull out each row, and then how to pull out each cell from each row, and then we also were able to output everything into a text file. So we created a text file, and then we used some string adjusting or string formatting to make our output look like a clean table in a text file. Alright, that's it for this video. Next video, we'll go over how to go through different pages. Remember, this the stats data is 7 different pages. The table we pulled out was just the first page, so we're going to go over how to pull out the rest of the videos. Not the rest of the videos, I'm sorry, the rest of the tables. Alright, so that's it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next video.